Hey everyone, welcome back to the Little Craft Fairy. I'm going to show you how to sub Dang Design's new product, which is a matte white acrylic. It's pretty awesome. So I just did this little doggy keychain, well, my cat keychain. You can see it's a nice white acrylic material. It's a matte acrylic, so if you're looking for something to order in terms of the acrylic that's great for subbing, this one is actually awesome. Just like the frosted, it subs really well. Like I'd mentioned in previous videos, subbing acrylic, you don't need a special coating, but it is very technique sensitive in terms of the temperature and the pressure, because that's important as well. So here we go. Okay, so I've done this. What I'm going to do now actually is sub one of their bookmarks. So I have my printout there, and here's my piece of acrylic. I always keep my acrylic covered until it's time to sub. So I'm going to take off that subbing strap. I use my little Cricut tool to do that. Just make sure you don't scratch. In this case, it doesn't really matter because you're dealing with a white piece. When I do my clear acrylics, I am really careful not to scratch when I'm using this, because you obviously will see the scratch on a clear acrylic piece. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get subbing, and I'll show you the technique I use to make sure it turns out pretty good. Today we are using a Cricut press. So I've done ones using just my regular, I think it's 15 by 15, sorry, 15 by 15 heat press. Today I'm going to show you using my just my 9 by 9 Cricut, and here, as you can see, I have my temperature set at 355, and we're going to be subbing for 40 seconds. Okay, so I have that. I have my alcohol. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I use alcohol. I still clean my acrylics even though I'm peeling off, because dust can leave terrible marks. I use coffee filters to clean because there's no lint on them and they're relatively inexpensive. You'll need your tape. I use tape for this. I don't use the tack spray because obviously we're dealing with a substrate that's hard. So I'm going to get all that ready and we'll prep everything. Okay, now on my previous videos we subbed frosted acrylic. A little bit different with this matte white is because when we sub frosted acrylic we don't mirror, but for this we obviously have to mirror because you are subbing the opposite direction, whereas on the frosted the image comes through underneath, so you sub not mirrored. So in this case we actually do mirror, so just like you're subbing your shirts and everything else pretty much that we sub. Okay, so when we are lining, I offset my template. It's a little bit slightly too big, which is okay. One key thing that I mention in all my videos for subbing acrylic, really important to always tape only the sides. We don't want to tape over because the acrylic does flex when you're subbing. And what I mean by that is you are going to tape only the edges. Okay, so really important just to tape the edges. Okay, because if you tape like this and you're subbing, the heat sometimes is hot enough that the acrylic will flex a little, and then you will get the imprint of the tape on your acrylic. And if you're doing this to actually sell product, that doesn't look very good. You want it to have that perfect, nice professional look. So, okay. So there you go. That's what I mean by subbing only on the sides. So you see that it's only on the sides there. Same as on here. Okay. And then we're going to face this guy this way. Make sure you have a flat piece of paper, parchment paper I'm using, or butcher paper I'm using today, because if I try to sub on this again, it will take, because it does melt a little bit, or it does like soften up. You want to make sure if you have a surface that's like this, that's rough and not flat, you put something, because you want to make sure that that's the kind of surface you're going to have after it cools down. Okay, and then you need to have a pack of paper or something heavy to put on top as soon as you're done subbing to ensure that it maintains the flat form that you want it to have. Okay, so I'm going to use my press, and for the press, the easy press, you do have to put a bit of pressure on it because you want to make sure that you're getting all the edges and all the edges evenly. So you do have to put quite a bit of pressure to ensure that. So Actually, I just realized my 9 by 9. I'm just measuring here. My 9 by 9 is going to be dead on, so I gotta be pretty good at making sure I get all the edges. Oop. It wants to turn off on me. Okay, so I'm going to try to make sure even pressure. Okay, we're almost done. There we go. Okay, so as soon as I take that off, I'm going to pop this back on and make sure that sits for about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. I find this one we don't have to wait actually that long, 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll come take a look at how it's subbed. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. I'm just going to lift this. It's still a little bit warm. Take a look and see how that turned out. Just take the paper off. I'm just going to see if it's, yeah, no, it's good. So there we go. Okay, so I can see that it wasn't even. So that's a difference between using an easy press. So what I'm going to do actually is sub it again. Now, I like to fix my mistakes. I don't like wasting substrate. So I do this a lot actually, where, not a lot I guess. I don't make that many mistakes, but when I do, I like saving my substrates if I can. So I will actually press it again, especially this matte white acrylic is a bit on the costlier side than your regular acrylic, so that's another reason why I would try as much as possible not to waste the substrate. I have done it very successfully before, so we're going to try that again. So that's the only difference between, this is, sorry, my second time subbing with an easy press. That's the only difference. Part of it is probably because I should have used my, I also have the bigger one, sorry, this is the 5 by 9 easy press, and I also have the 9 by 9. I should have used maybe that. Actually, no, it won't make a difference because that other one is also. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do it again. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so I'm just going to actually take this off now. Make sure it's good, and then I'm going to pop my paper on there. And from the tiny, quick little peek that we had, I can see the image turned out pretty awesome. So like I said, you know, no one's perfect. I always try to save my substrates. I've been able to save mugs that didn't come out the way they were supposed to. And also things like acrylic. Acrylic, actually, this matte acrylic, I find, even the frosted, if you do make a little bit of a mistake, you can let it cool and then repress it. Just make sure what you do is kind of peek at the edge of the image, so don't shift around the sub paper so that it stays in the exact same place. So I'll just take a peek at the edge so that your paper, your sub paper is not moving, and then you won't have any issues with ghosting. But we'll take a look once this is done cooling. I'll give it a couple more minutes. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to remove our pack of paper. It was a little bit soft, and then I'll let you see the finished product, and you can tell me what you think there. So like you saw from my quick before, this corner and edge was actually barely subbed because I didn't have very even pressure. So when I resubbed, you can see how nice it turned out. Okay, so yeah, so don't worry if you do make any mistakes, you can do it again. It's the great thing about acrylic is, even though it is technique sensitive, it's a very forgiving substrate. So just don't always take a peek. Don't remove the sublimation paper right off the hand, and then you can probably repair any issues with regards to whether or not it's subbed properly. So thank you for watching, and if you have any comments below, I'd appreciate them. And if there's anything else you'd like to see or any questions about the acrylics, please feel free to comment below. Thank you. Bye-bye.